Hi everyone, I'm Shadi, and today we're going to talk about the second part of greetings, the slang part. The slang is a type of informal speech. Better to say, it is the very informal and mostly broken vocabularies and grammar which people are using in everyday conversations. That's why we cannot use them in formal situations. This style of speaking comes from different communities in a country and their cultures. In the United States, for instance, in some parts you may hear people normally say hi to each other by using the word you, while in the other parts, it's inappropriate to use this word for someone who is not your close friend. Obviously, this becomes a big challenge for the learners, especially when they want to talk with a native English speaker. That's why today I'm going to talk about the most common slang vocabularies and greetings. Let's start with yo, yo, I, hola, heya, and hiya, which are the most common slang phrases you can use instead of hi, hello, or hey. Yo versus yo. First, when we want to be a little bit funny and goofy with a friend, we can easily use any of these two. And second, although these two are very common among Americans, the first one, yo, is more popular among other nations as well. It might be helpful to know that the second one, I mean, Y, E, O, yell, is not grammatically correct. If I'm not mistaken, this word is rooted from Korean language. Now the word I. This word is a little bit confusing for some of the learners because in American slang, it means hey, but in British English, it is used instead of yes. The other phrase, hola, is borrowed from Spanish language. Even in Spanish, it means hello. It might be interesting to know that the Irish pronounce it without H, hola, instead of hola. Now, hey, yo, and hiya. First, pay attention to the second parts of these words, yo and ya. Both are different short forms of you. Now, look at both again. Do you see hey and the word heyo and hi and the word hiya? Most definitely, you can now understand why we use these words instead of hi and hey in slang. In addition, the word on the left is more popular among Americans, while the right one is used more by Australians. When someone greets you by any of these words, you can simply reply by repeating the word or say hi or hey. As I said in the previous video, the first part of greetings, it is more appropriate to ask about the world or the feelings of the other one after saying hi, hello, or hey. In slang, it is exactly the same. So now, let's see what are the questions and phrases in slang to do so. Probably the most popular one is sup, which is the contracted form of what's up. As you see here, it has two different styles of writing, one with an apostrophe after is, and the other one without it. The other phrase is howdy, which is the short form of hello plus how do you do. When Americans see someone after a while, in slang they might ask how you living instead of the question how's life. Or what's cracking, what's cooking, what's popping instead of what's happening. You may also hear other questions, like what's really good, what's the dilly. Dilly means outstanding, remarkable. By any of these questions, they ask about the recent happenings in your life. But when they want to ask about your mood or your feelings, the questions you get and you ate are more popular. It is the contracted form of alright. The British, on the other hand, love using the questions how's it hanging? What's sizzling? What's kicking? The question what's hanging is very common among Australians as well. Aussies contract the question what's going on to what's going on. Your Australian friend might ask you about the latest happenings in your life by the question, what's news? Or about your surrounding by the question, what's goss? The short form of what's the gossip? In other words, what's goss is more about the rumors you might heard about another person or something about your community. But what's news is more about the facts in your life. When you see someone, unexpectedly or after a while, for showing your excitement and surprise, you can say, look who's coming, look who's arrived, or look what the cat dragged in. In some English speaking cultures, the third one is considered inappropriate. If you think about it, the reason might be obvious to you. When a cat drags something in, it's mainly a dead mouse or something like that. To answer these questions, the instruction that I told you in the first part video of greetings can be helpful for you. To say it in short, first look at the question. The one asks you to see whether it's starting with how or what. Since the question is starting with how are related to your feelings and mood, the answers would be something like good, well, fine, not bad. And the questions starting with what are about your world and the happenings in your life, an explanation should be given, such as not much, not a lot, and so on. Now let's check the slang answers to the slang questions. Instead of explaining by using short answers such as nothing, nothing much, or not much, say nothing, nothing, or nada, which are the three short forms of nothing. Or use the contracted form of the usual, the usual, or that of for sure, for sure. Now, it's time to talk about alright. In slang, the most common short form of it is out, which is very American. And the other short form, right, which is completely written and pronounced without all, is more welcomed in some parts of the United Kingdom. For questioning in this way, the British mostly say, you're right, or for answering, they say, alright. You're right is contracted form of are you alright? And alright is the short form of I am alright. Here I want to explain the two types of writing the word alright. The first one, on the left, is informal. Use it when you're chatting with your friend. While the second one, on the right, is for formal contexts. Do you recall the expressions same old, or doing nothing that we talked about in the previous video? The equivalent expressions in slang are same shit or shit instead of same old. And same shit different day instead of same old, same old. As you know, shit means feces, and it's not a polite word to use in conversations. However, some native English speakers use it when talking to their close friends or being angry. They use these expressions to say nothing special happened in their life. But how about the alternative phrases for doing nothing? It's a relief to say that they're appropriate. You can say chilling, cooling, kicking, season, or more specific if you want to be straight season. These mean you're relaxing, and enjoying the life without doing anything special. Up to here, I introduced different ways of saying hello, hi, or hey, and the following questions in slang. Now let's talk about the most common alternatives of morning and where we can use them. Have you ever heard rise and shine, wakey wakey, it's tomorrow, top of the morning sunshine, morning glory, make it a good one, or let's make it a good one? First of all, when you wake someone in the morning, you can use any of these expressions. Second, the last ones, morning sunshine, morning glory, make it a good one, and let's make it a good one can be used when you see someone in the morning, even if you didn't wake them up. Remember, it's more common to use the word one instead of day in these types of expressions. So, when we say make it a good one or let's make it a good one, we mean make it a good day or let's make it a good day. By saying so, we wish for a pleasant, enjoyable, and successful day. You may hear some Americans, especially in LA, use the word buenos dias instead of morning or good day. And it's more common among Canadians to say bonjour. I guess you know buenos dias is a Spanish phrase and bonjour is a French one. By watching the previous video of this course, you'd know which one of the answers are proper for any of the questions in this video. For the questions what's good, sup, and what's the dilly, the most common answers to say nothing might be not much, nothing, not that much, or the slang alternatives nothing, nada, and shit. And to say everything is the same, the answers can be something like these. The use, same shit, and same shit different day. How about any of these questions? You good? How you living? You ate? To answer the questions, you good? You ate? Uh, good, fine, I'm alright, not bad, sure, or the slang ones, ate, for sure, are suitable. And for the question, how you living? The answers chilling, cooling, kicking, hanging, or just chilling, just cooling, just kicking, just hanging, as well as ate are perfect. Guess what would be your answer when someone asks you any of these questions? What's cooking? What's popping? What's cracking? Since by these questions, the one asks you if there is any happening in your life which makes you happy and joyful and make you enjoy your life, you can reply with these phrases. Chilling, cooling, kicking, sneezing to say you're relaxing and enjoying your life. Not much, nothing, or the short forms nada, nothing, to mention there's nothing special happening in your life, or shit, same shit, to put into words that everything is awful or you're not happy with your life. Now, think about the question, how's it hanging? Do you remember the method of answering that I told you in the previous video? I bet you do. As you know, by using the verb, we can reply. So the answer to the question is hang in there. Based on my own experience, it's a little bit confusing for some of the learners how to reply to the phrase howdy. By the method that I told you, you can simply say howdy or hi, hey. However, there's another slang phrase to answer howdy, rowdy, or as Aussies say, let's get rowdy. Now, let's see what you learned. Imagine we are close friends who are greeting in slang. Hey, sup? Hey, not that. Thanks, and you? How do y'all? Pay attention to y'all. It's the short form of you all. Here I'm greeting a bunch of friends. Please reply now. Howdy back. Easy peasy, right? You can add the word back to the other words as well, like to say hey back, hi back. The third situation. Hey, you alright? Hi. Alright, and you? Yo, how you living? This can be one of your possible answers. Yo, aight. Just chillin'. How about you? How long? You good? Hey yo. Yeah, for sure. How about you? What's good? Hey, not much. Straight season. And you? Let's make the last one similar to a full greeting. Oh, look who's here. Howdy. Hey, yeah, it's been a while. What's the dilly? Nothing. The usual. How about you? Not much. Just hanging out. Hanging out is another phrase to say I'm chilling, I'm cooling, I'm popping. And here we are at the end of this session. And the next one, we'll talk about different ways to say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining and staying with us. Please write down your questions in the comments below if you have any. Have a good time.